Zagorzeń zatat to la szarwe zadnes. A ten on żon zgre stay chiza iguandista to la tinaji. Lección rena lección tres son lección chon na chile chiza iguandista vocal ni la con inglés check vowels. Hi there again. Welcome everyone. I hope you guys will enjoy this session. We are going to be talking about check vowels today. And so let's just start by showing you and sharing with you my PDF file so you guys can follow along. There we go. Okay, go back to this. Okay, so, but before we start with the check vowels, I want to make a couple of points. That 3.2, page 28, we have a couple of additional consonant sounds. Remember that we talked about the plain orthography that we are using, in which we don't represent any sounds, right? So, however, on the pronunciation guide, we are going to be showing that, if you guys remember, with the plain vowels, we were showing how it is the sound is represented in the brackets, right, with two A's. Well, in consonants as well, we have different representations. In 3.2, if you look at there are three words that I would like to, well, more than three, but let's start with those three over there, that they're interesting because if you guys look on the brackets for the word wide, which is pronounced mlach, well, first of all, in the first column, you see the two L's, which means a long L. So it's not like an Asia in Spanish, right? Because in Spanish you have two L's and it's pronounced Asia. But in Zapotec, it just means that it is a long L. So with time, as I mentioned earlier, you guys will be able to, and hopefully, to distinguish between these sounds such as two vowels and one vowel, like we look at the breathy vowel, so it's a breathy, right? So it's a vowel H, so it's a long breathy vowel versus vowel H, which is a single breathy or short breathy vowel. It is the same with the consonants. So when you guys see two L's, such as nlach, it means that the L is just a little bit, you pronounce it longer. Or with blonde, moosh, so the M stays a little bit longer. So you close your mouth and then for a few seconds more, if you will, to have that double M sound. And then the other one, which is a borrow word from Spanish, from apple, we have in the pronunciation brackets, manzan. So the N, it's a little bit longer than typically other N's that we pronounce. So I hope that that helps. But as I said, since you guys are going to be looking at some of these words in this section that we're going to be talking about, I just wanted you to be aware that you'll find double consonant represented on the pronunciation brackets. Okay, so, and also there are two other sounds, which, as you guys can see on the left bracket, X, and then you see two colons, right? And then you see in the bracket on the pronunciation guide, shkeen. So it's for corner. Again, the X, the two colon is pronounced shkeen, shkeen. Okay, so just whenever you see these brackets, it's just a different pronunciation than the plain X that we saw. And also we have the ZH, which is hat, the example we have here, which is pronounced jombrel, jombrel. So I don't know if you can hear when I say it, it's almost like a whistling sound. So I'm gonna say corner again, shkeen, shkeen. If you hear that like shkeen, almost like whistling, that's the That's the two. That's the colon we're talking about. So it's X colon, almost this whistling sound that you guys can hear. So, and the other one, jombrel, jombrel. But as I said before, I know it's really hard when you first hear this. So as we progress along, I hope that you guys begin to see the difference between X colon and the H colon. But just be aware of that, okay? So you guys wouldn't just be confused, like, what's going on here? Why do I see the colon and also the two M's, two N's, and two L's? And so that was the point of just making you aware of this special cases. So now we're going to move to, we already talked about breathy vowels. So very quickly, breathy vowels is represented by AH, right? Where the H represents the breathiness of it. So, and also it's kind of this low tone that we find, whereas the plain vowels, just think about it, high tone, it doesn't change, stay very constant. Just to remind you guys, we talked about reloj, right? Or that's the plain vowel, and also we saw the nilo with a single breathy vowel, and then we also look at the two breathy vowels such as face, lo. Okay. And also we talked that sometimes when you add something to the long breathy vowels, it changes, right? Like whose face, right? To lo. But and then if we say their faces, as you guys can see on the left-hand side right here, where I have my cursor, it says loreng. So the second breathy vowel goes away. So again, to lo, long breathy vowel, and their faces loreng. So now we get into our check vowel. So what does that mean when you see a check vowel? Well, a check vowel ends with a glottal stop sound. This sound is made by completely closing the folds of the glottis, opening the top of the larynx. But I'm not going to go into these very specific ways of defining it. So I think the best way to think about it when you sort of stop at the word like uh-oh, right? So you go uh-oh. There's a pause and then a release. So that is what we call check vowels. So in English, we use it in many words, but we don't write it. We don't write the glottal stop, right, in English. And the same thing for Zapotec, as we said in our simple spelling, that we don't write it, but yet we do in the guide brackets, we do indicate that with an apostrophe. So just can give you an idea, or so you can appreciate this, how that is pronounced in Zapotec. I'm going to be saying these 5 words for you, so hopefully you can hear the glottals on the words. So for the A, which is kiss, and in Zapotec is chat. Okay, so I'm going to say it one more time. Chat. Can you guys hear that pause? Sort of like a release, right? So one more time. Chat. And then for the E, for is inside out. That's. One more time. That's. And there. Rik. Rik. For 2, like number 2. Diop. Diop. And the last one is cachuch. Cachuch. All right, guys. So now I'm going to invite you guys all to say it with me or say it after me. After I say it twice, you guys are going to have a pause and then say it or say it along. The first one is chat. One more time. Chat. Next. That's. That's. For the I. Rik. Rik. Next word. Diop. Diop. And the last one. is cachuch, cachuch. And actually, that comes from Spanish, which is cachucha, baseball cap, right? So I hope that you guys can appreciate those glottal stops. And then the check vowels are often combined with other vowels. So we already introduced the breathy vowels, right? So sometimes it is combined with the breathy vowels, as in the examples that you guys can see right here on page 31. So we have some examples of check vowel and also followed by a breathy vowel. So if you look at the first word, which is crawl, on the left side, just representing the vowel. So you have a check, AH, right? So if you guys remember, check means a check vowel, and then an H means breathy. So putting this together, we pronounce it the following way. So for crow is ka, ka. So if you guys repeat after me, ka. So that is a stop, which is the glottal, and the release that we talked about earlier. That's the breathiness of it. So let's try one more time. Okay, so for crawl, it's ka, ka. Okay, let's go on to the next word. Z, z. So that's corn on the cob. And then nose is ji, ji. Fat, yo, yo. And house is the last word, you. And if you guys remember, when we were talking about breathy vowels, that we have a word that's spelled the same, which is dirt. So just you might want to go back to it, but for right now, just listen to these two words, right? So you can hear the breathy vowel, and then you're gonna hear the difference between breathy and check, and then breathy vowels. Okay, so the first one that we had as dirt in the previous section, it is pronounced you, right? And house is you. So there is this glottal stop and a release, as you guys can see on the brackets on the pronunciation guide on your right column. Okay, so as you can see, it's sort of a falling tone. When we talked about plain vowels, there was a high tone, right? That it means it stays pretty much the same. It doesn't fall, it doesn't rise. It's just like it, but it is a high tone. So just so you guys can remember, also in terms of tone, and we said that Zapotec is a tone language. So you can, I hope that you can begin to see the how this for each word the tones change, and also the meaning of the words. Okay, so we have a few more here, a few more words. We're still on page 31. Okay, so we have here wet, which is check, the vowel, breathy vowel. So ready to hear them and pronounce them? Here we go. Nash. Nash. Okay, one more time. Nash. Can you guys hear that stop and then the breathy release? Nash. Okay, water. Yes. Yes. And then if you guys can notice that the nash, the N is not as long as the N on yes. So my N's are a little bit longer on the second word. So if you hear carefully, it's nash. And water is yes. Okay, so you don't have to worry right now. You know, if you hear or don't hear it, I think for right now, let's just practice our vowels, and then as I keep mentioning to you guys, that with time you will be able to, and hopefully will be able to distinguish between these long consonants, right? The N's, the M, the L's. But for right now, let's just stay focused on the Czech vowels. So, and the last one is a drink, which it's a American drink, at least Zapotec drink in Oaxaca, which is it's called kuh. Again, pay attention, please, to the vowels there. Don't worry about any other the consonants. Just kuh. One more time, kuh. Okay, and then you begin to see, and also you begin to hear now this combination of vowels that we talked about. So for the previous one, we had the Czech and single breathy vowels, right? But the next example, it's going to be a Czech vowel, breathy. So it's going to be even longer breath, but with a Czech on the next two examples. Okay, so what I'll do right now, I'm going to say them, and then you guys do the best you can to emulate what I'm saying. Okay, so for sickness, we say galgish. One more time, galgish. Okay, so now it is your time, and I'll give you a few seconds before I say the other word. Okay, so all right. And the next one is buh. One more time, buh. And probably it's really hard for you to think about these long breathy vowels, but for a second, if you just listen to me when I'm gonna say or make a comparison between water and sickness, and hopefully you'll hear the Czech vowel, and then you're gonna hear the breathy vowel for water, and then for the sickness, you're gonna hear the Czech vowel, and then breathy vowel. Okay, so listen up. Yes. One more time. Yes. And now sickness. Galgish. It's this really long breathy vowel that is just carries over. So and so that's another type of combined vowels between Czech vowel and also breathy vowels. And since we already look at the plain vowels, we also have a combination of Czech vowels with a plain vowel, such as is in the next example. Okay, so this one I call it that it has this boing effect. So hopefully you'll hear the boing that I'm referring to. I always, when I'm teaching, I'm telling people like it's just like a boing, like boing, going. The tone is going to be rising, so it kind of falls and then rises. So let's see if you guys can hear that, or it's just my imagination. Who knows, right? So here we go for the Hernandez. We say Hernain. One more time. Hernain. And once again, Hernain. Do you guys hear that boingy? So like kind of falls and then it goes up. That tone kind of falls and then goes up. And then the other word is soda, Pepsi, right? So we say Pepsi. And then on the pronunciation guide, you guys see the letter stop and then the plain A. Like on the left, just the vowels, and then on the right, you see how it is pronounced, the whole word. So a city person, we say Gish. Okay, one more time. Gish. And then Lopez, Loib. Okay, so, well, it's just interesting to look at the first four words that they are derived or borrowed from Spanish. Hernandez, Pepsi, and I'm sorry, not that one, not the city person, but Lopez, yes. So it is borrowed from Spanish or comes from Spanish words. And the last word we have is corn. And as you guys can see, the ZH has a colon. Remember that a colon means almost like a little whistle, right? So let's see if you guys can hear that. If not, don't worry, but I'm sure that by the end of this quarter, you guys will be able to say it. But right now, don't worry. So it is pronounced roop, roop. One more time, roop. So this vowel pattern is pronounced, as I said, with a rising tone and ends higher than it starts off. So it comes off starts kind of low and then it rises, right? I hope that you guys begin to understand some of these complex vowel types that we talk about in terms of, and also the combinations. Okay, so lastly, we're going to be looking at the tone of a check vowel followed by two plain vowels. So it's going to be a C, which is check, P, plain P. So it's CPP. Okay, so you might think like it is higher, but probably is. And let's see what you guys think so on page 32 at the top of the page, we have four words that it's going to be our end of our session today, right? So listen up as I said the words, and hopefully you can appreciate the rise tone that you might hear something higher than the previous one, okay? And again, here we go. So it's a vowel check, plain vowel, plain vowel. As in, are you done? Are you done? Are you done? One more time. Next one is bridge. Puen, puen. And the next one is change, change, change for bedbug. And last word of today is going to be blow or hit. Golp, golp. One more time. Golp. And remember the PY, we talk about the Y sound, right? It's kind of a soft I that is not really an I there, because remember we talked about this. We said that if it had an I, it would be golpi, right? But it's not what I'm saying. I'm saying golp. One more time. Golp. Well, before we go, why don't we go over these last words, all of us? So I will say, starting from at the bottom of page 31, I will say the words, and then you can repeat after me and just say them after I say each one of them. And again, I'll give you space there so you can try to say them. And of course, when we meet on Fridays, we'll go over all these words and see how we are doing. Okay, so for now, I'll say them twice. You can repeat after me, or you can say them after a little small pause that I'll make on each word. Okay, so here we go. Nine, nine, babes, babes, geesh, geesh, loib, loib, roob, roof. Okay, the next one is the check, plain vowel. Are you done? Are you done? Puen, puen, change, change, golp, golp. And last one thing that I want to say, these four words, the last one that we just went over, they are Spanish borrowed words. And remember that we did talk about this, how different languages, they borrow words from other languages. So this is the case of Zapotec. But as you can see, the last one, golp, it's interesting because the way in which we borrow it, you can sort of tell that comes from golpe, right? But it is pronounced different. Like the first one, the helper, it comes from ayudante, but we borrow it, incorporated, and made it part of our vocabulary as ayudan, and also the second one, which also comes from Spanish, puente, and then we say puente. So please don't be thinking that because you see some of these words that are borrowed from Spanish, you're gonna see everything like that. It's just this word that we're having incorporated into Zapotec for a long time. Of course, there are some other words that have been recently borrowed, but the longer they've been borrowed, it is harder to tell that it comes from Spanish. So I hope that you guys practice, and then for the next section, we're going to be talking about creaky vowels. So this is, remember, we talked about 4 different types of vowels, just to remind you, which is the plain, and then we have the breathy, and this is the check vowel. And our last set of vowel types is going to be the creaky vowels. So please keep practicing, and then you will be really good at distinguishing and saying these different types of vowels. Bueno, ready below to la lección shtunaji. Niger stage relua awal gugberot shamot to la chule ni tradishe na usangan nagakwa undisa per to la valat ini adang stay zien ini adang chiabilo coroni no anrena rapas gorda que la da arwet tutisa la stilsnad hasta stay lección.